I'm Meredith with Extreme Terrain, and today I'm talking with Travis about his JT. Thank you so much for joining with me today.
Thank you for having me, Meredith.
Yeah, of course. Happy to have you on. So just to kind of give everybody an overview on your Gladiator and what you're working with, again, you have a 2021 Rubicon Gladiator diesel. You have a 17 by 9 inch black Rhino Abrams textured matte gunmetal wheels with a negative 18 millimeter offset, giving the Gladiator an aggressive stance. You also have 35 by 12.5 inch R17 Nitto Trail Grappler mud terrain tires. And then for suspension, you have the TerraFlex 1.5 inch front spacer lift and Daystar 3/4 inch rear spacer lift. Overall, a great foundation. I really like what you did with the build. I think it complements everything that you have on there in addition to the wheels and tires. Can you tell me why you chose this combo or this setup?
It started off kind of budgetary. I didn't have the money for a full lift kit. I found a really good deal on these tires, and it just worked out really well. And especially adding the bumper and the winch, having that 1.5 inch spacer in the front, it didn't just completely drop it out. The 35s fit the Rubicon so well because they've got that extra room in the fenders and just a little bit higher suspension. And I just wanted it to sit a little higher and level it out, which, again, with the bumper and winch, it did kind of nose it a little bit, but it still gives it a really good stance. And I kind of building my whole theme around, as the name of the rig, the War Rig from Mad Max. So those Abrams wheels kind of had that, semi-truck, but more militarized look to them. And it was just, I thought they fit perfectly with the whole theme I was going for.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you daily drive this, or are you off-roading it at all?
Both. I daily drive it. It's my daily. I'm up in kind of the Northeast Texas area, so I go out to Barnwell, Crossbar Ranch.
Now, over in Texas, what does off-roading look like to you?
So for us, it's a lot of, especially in the area I'm at, it's a lot of clay. So it's a lot of trail riding. We have small off-road parks. We don't have lots of public land that we can go just romp around in. It's got a big rock garden people do.
Well, let's hop into the wheels first. So just for everybody watching at home, Travis has the 17 by 9 inch black Rhino Abrams textured matte gunmetal wheels with 18 millimeter offset that gives the Gladiator an aggressive stance. You kind of talked about how you chose these based off of that Mad Max and military style wheel. Is there any other reason why you chose this wheel?
I just thought they looked really good. For the Jeeps, especially, you think off-road, I'm not big on like chrome. And if I'd have done any other kind of theme, I probably would have gone with like a spoked style, more classic. But it was just, these just looked so cool when I saw them.
Absolutely. They are a very popular wheel. Is there a reason why you went with the gunmetal compared to any other color that they offer in these wheels?
So my Gladiator is the granite crystal color, so it just matched the color really well.
Is there a reason why you chose a 17 by 9 compared to any other wheel size choice?
I just wanted to keep the factory size, and that just gives a lot of options on tires because pretty much everybody makes, until you start getting into like the 42s and stuff, you can get anything on a 17 inch.
So the wheels are 9 inches wide, and paired with the negative 18 millimeters of offset, again, it gives the Gladiator an aggressive stance. It pokes out from that fender a little bit. Why did you choose this combo of the 9 inch wide with the negative 18 millimeters?
It was partially that. I did want it to stand out a little bit. I liked the wider look, especially with a 12.5 inch wide tire. And eventually I'd like to go to like a 38 by 13.5 and get, it's just a stance that I like. I like that wide planted look.
Tell me how you like the stance compared to the factory stance. I'm sure you love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, to me, like a 35 by 12.5 looks so much better than the 33s, and it suits it better, I think.
Now, as far as the wheels with the 35s, are you happy with the amount of sidewall or that ratio with the 17 inch wheel and the 35 inch tire?
Oh yeah, I've aired these things down. Typically I run at about 12 PSI on the trail. I have gone as low as 8, but it at that point, I start getting concerned about debeating the tire,
Yeah.
but I haven't done it. And I mean, it does. It really flattens the tire out. I get plenty of contact. The only times I've ever had this thing stuck is from high centering it. I've never had problems with traction.
So everybody, again, watching at home, Travis has the 35 by 12.5 inch R17 Nitto Trail Grappler mud terrain tires. Why this tire?
I found a really good deal on them, and it just happened fine. But I have several friends that run them, and so I knew they were a good tire, and I've had no complaints about them. They've done great, and I haven't had anything on the trail puncture them. I've picked up a couple of screws on the road, but even then, like, they don't just lose air. They actually, even puncture, they still hold really well.
Now, obviously you got a good deal on them. Are you a fan of Nitto? Is that another reason why it pushed you to these tires?
So with this being my first Jeep, I was still like, I didn't have any real world experience myself with them, but like I said, I have multiple friends that run these things, friends with a couple of the guys that Rebel Off-Road, most of them run them. So it was like, okay, I can trust these tires, and I've been extremely happy with them.
Can you tell me why you chose the 35? You kind of talked about how the 33 doesn't fill up the wheel well as much as the 35. They look a little bit better. Can you tell me why you chose 35 by 12.5?
So without having a lift kit on here yet, it was a good compromise of getting a larger tire without sacrificing too much of my articulation. And if I try to put a 37 in without a lift, it will fit, but I'd end up just jamming it into the wheel well if I got full flex on this thing. So it was just a good compromise of additional height without losing my actual capability.
Why did you choose a mud terrain over an all-terrain, especially if you're daily driving it? I would assume because of where you are when you're off-roading it.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Like I said, a lot of that clay and stuff, you can't really gum up an all-terrain tire. And I like the aggressive look of mud terrains, kind of goes with the whole build theme. And I've never had them before, and there were certain aspects of them I was curious about. People always say how noisy they are, and it was like, So, and yes, there is noise. Maybe I'm just one of those lunatics. I actually kind of like that road hum a little bit, especially with the diesel. It sounds cool. The additional performance out of them has been fantastic off-road.
Now, as far as how they ride, because they are a more aggressive tire, how do they ride on-road? Are they smooth? Are they a little bumpy? Or can you feel the tread?
I've never had it where it's like a bit noticeable vibration. To me, they've rode just fine.
Nice.
I didn't notice any dip in ride quality when I went to the mud terrains. So.
And I assume that they perform just great off-road.
Oh yeah.
Can't complain.
No, like I said, the only time I've gotten this thing stuck is from high centering it because it's long.
How do the tires feel compared to your stock setup?
So I can tell a difference in turning, especially at low speed, depending on the quality of the asphalt. And like I can feel a little more resistance in the steering wheel, but it's usually nothing dramatic.
Nice.
Like I said, off-road, they perform great on rocks, dirt, of course, the mud. On-road, like I said, aside from, like I said, there is noise with mud terrains, but they've ridden great. I haven't had any problems out of them. Like, even picked up a couple of screws in them, and they didn't lose air out of them.
Did you need to calibrate for the larger tire size? Did you do anything like a speedometer recalibration tool, like flash cal or anything?
I actually did the Taser, which I purchased from y'all. So I've got the Taser Mini.
Nice. And how's that working out for you?
Oh, it's been great.
Now, did it feel more sluggish when putting on the tires because it is a little bit bigger than a 33 that it came factory with?
It really hasn't, but a lot of that is because of the diesel in this thing. I probably will eventually re-gear this thing when I go up to maybe a 38 or something like that. But for right now, the stock gearing is doing just fine. I still get about 22, 24 miles to the gallon.
Let's hop into the suspension. So you have the TerraFlex 1.5 inch front spacer lift and the Daystar 3/4 inch rear spacer lift. Kind of talked about it already, but why did you choose this combo?
When I originally put this on, I didn't have the winch, and it did bring it up. That combination did bring it up perfectly level. And of course, when I added the winch on, it did sink the front down a little bit, but it was just to give me a little more room in the front for those 35s, or all around for the 35s. And then I also added the Rugged Ridge fender chop kit to clear the front of the fender up a little bit more.
Nice.
And I didn't notice much difference in the ride quality. It roughened up a little bit, but that also has to come with the caveat that I've got the old factory shocks on here that weren't valved properly. The whole thing has kind of been a little goofy as far as the ride quality.
Why did you choose 1.5 inches specifically for the front? Just to kind of bring it back up, level it out, especially with that winch and front bumper in mind?
Yeah, the winch front bumper, also the diesel is about 400 pounds heavier than the gas engine. And yeah, I wanted to actually bring the whole thing up because I knew I was going to add that extra weight. So I wanted as much height in the front as I could get.
And is that 3/4 inches in the back? Did you put that on there just to kind of bring the tail end up a bit to match the front?
Yes. Yeah. Once I got it all installed and measured all out, the whole truck was perfectly level, fender to fender.
Now, did you have any fitment issues at any point in time with the 35s and the lift kit? Or did you put on the lift kit after the 35s?
No, the lift kit went on before. So the 35s went on no problem.
Now, did you chop the fenders before or after the tires?
Before.
And you're not having any rubbing at full lock or anything?
Yeah, I haven't had any rubbing issues against either the frame or the rails. And even on the fender, I also have the Artec inner fender liners, so they kind of, tighten everything up inside. And zero rubbing issues.
How do you like the way that it looks with the wheels, tires, and the suspension?
I love the way it looks. I just wish it was bigger.
Yeah, of course. Hey, don't we all, right? So how does the suspension handle with the wheels and tires off-road?
It's been great. Like I said, I'm not bombing down washboard roads in it, but let some air out of the tires and it rides a lot better.
Do you have any plans for the future? I know that you mentioned the 3.5-inch lift. A build is never finished.
No. I am doing this on quite a budget, so I do plan on I do eventually want to put a bed rack, because I like to do a lot of overlanding,
Nice.
going camping stuff. So I'm debating on buying one or building one, but definitely plan, like I said, the lift, 37s or 38s next, depending on what I can get my hands on. I do eventually want to put some lights on here, of course, for going out at night. And one thing I'd love to eventually do, especially being in Texas, I want to get one of the Sunrider tops eventually, because some days it's really nice, but especially right now, we're supposed to be 101 today. It's like, nope, I want one air conditioning.
I'm okay with some cool air blowing in my face. I'll skip the hot air. For everybody watching at home, Travis has a 2021 diesel Rubicon Gladiator. He has the 17 by 9-inch black Rhino Abrams in textured matte gunmetal with a -mm offset, giving the Gladiator an aggressive stance. 35 by 12.5-inch R17 Nitto Trail Grappler mud terrain tires, and the TerraFlex 1.5-inch front spacer lift and Daystar 3/4-inch rear spacer lift. Again, thank you so much, and for more videos just like this, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.